Hey, welcome to MWise. I'm Dan Lamarena. We're very excited to have you here for this session. We have folks who are streaming and watching it. We have the folks here live. I think you're gonna have a great 30 minutes. MWise is where security practitioners, visionaries, and leaders meet to share what they're learning and make us a safer place. We're happy to be here in DC. We're happy to be here at the Marriott Marquis. And it's just been a really exciting week. So thank you again for participating. And obviously, as Mania and Google, we are a platinum sponsor. We are very happy to be here ourselves. We had a great first day to the event. We're here on the expo floor, and you can actually see mobs of people here. We also had some really great sessions. So the general sessions, really amazing topics, amazing speakers from across the industry. But I wanted to highlight the keynotes because I thought the keynotes yesterday were fabulous. First of all, we had Kevin Mandia, CEO of Mandiant, and he gave some really great recommendations for how the industry should be thinking about cybersecurity now. We are in a time of apex predators, and there's certain assumptions we have to make. We have to assume we're going to be hacked. We have to assume that with the new 0 days, with what we're seeing with edge and security devices getting attacked, that the only way that we can do better is to detect and respond faster, which is really what this session you're about to hear is about. We had an amazing panel of threat intelligence experts from across the industry talk about what they're seeing in the threat landscape. And I think one of the learnings we had that is how do you take that intelligence and how do you make it actionable? And again, I think that's something you're going to hear when Nimi comes up here in a few minutes. It's like what we're trying to do at Google and Mandiant is take threat intel and make it real and make it tangible for security operations teams. And then finally, we had Christopher Wray, director of the FBI. And what he was saying is we as an industry need to start working together with the government and with the FBI before an attack, not just during and after. And some great learnings there. If you want to learn more about what happened at the keynotes, you missed it. You had your chance. You could have been here at the event. For those streaming, I'm sorry. But the reality is we're going to give you the chance to go look at them retroactively. We're going to have you sign up for our virtual pass, which I'll be talking about shortly. But I want to get you more excited about what's going to take place later this afternoon. So at 2 o'clock, there's an amazing panel with Charles Carmichael. He's one of our leads in incident response. He's going to have some companies that have been recently breached, Microsoft, Barracuda, Coinbase. They're going to be on the main stage, and they're going to talk about what they've learned from some of the attacks they've suffered through over the last few months. In addition, we have a fantastic panel on AI security, both on how security is going to help or AI is going to help cybersecurity professionals reduce some of the toil and the time it takes to detect bad guys and make us more secure. But also, how do we secure a lot of the AI projects we may have going on? And what are some of the other issues and challenges we may be facing around AI as it becomes a bigger part of our technology and, frankly, our lives as cybersecurity professionals? And you can see some really great guests on here. Maggie Miller from Politico, Phil Venables, the CISO of Google Cloud, Dmitry Alperovich from the Silverado Policy Accelerator, some just really great folks on this panel. Now, the question is, hey, I missed yesterday. I'd like to see what's happening today. How do I do that? And so what we asked you to do is go to mwise.io, mwise.io for the folks at home, and register. And if you go there, you can use the code digital500, and you'll get a free pass. And you can look at today's great sessions. You can also retroactively go back and check out all the great sessions yesterday. Not just the keynotes, but also all those breakout and general sessions that we had. So we're really excited to have you here. Thank you again for being a part of this. One of the things that we're always excited to do here at Mandiant Google Cloud is to try to teach you and learn a little bit about some of the things that we're working on. And we made an announcement yesterday around our new threat detection and investigation platform. And we think it's really going to be revolutionary in how organizations are looking and doing detection and response, which we know is so critical. It combines what we think are the best of what we do at Mandiant from our latest threat intel that we're seeing from the front lines, and make it actionable through what we think is probably one of the greatest platforms for collecting data, analyzing it, and getting to outcomes. To talk about it, we have Nimi Reichenberg. Nimi is the head of product marketing for our security operations portfolio, and he's going to share with you the announcements we had yesterday. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Dan. Who's ready to talk some security operations? All right, everybody in the room. Let's start with our feature film. Okay, welcome again. If you're in security operations, you'd probably agree that SecOps is in dire need of modernization. Our adversaries are certainly constantly modernizing their techniques. Hopefully you're attending some of the great sessions by Mandiant to get some insights into these latest threats. And we know we're coming off a hot zero-day summer. And what we need to defend keeps changing, and we need to modernize that as well. I'm willing to bet very few people, but maybe no one in this room even thought about how do I secure generative AI just 1 year ago, right? And I bet all of you are going to have to start thinking about this in the months ahead. So everything is changing, everything is modernizing, but the tools that many security operations teams use to try to detect, investigate, and respond to these threats are often years old, sometimes even decades old. Some of them were even conceived in the pre-cloud era. If you think about all of this, it may be, not that surprising that a lot of the challenges that SOCs and security operations teams cite are also years and sometimes decades old. How many years have we been talking about alert overload, about manual processes, about lack of scalability in our platform? And I chose this stat from the recent Mandiant M-Trends report, which I thought was mind-boggling and I thought was kind of indicative of how much we need to modernize security operations. According to the M-Trends report, in 63% of the incidents that Mandiant came to investigate, the company wasn't even the one that found out that they've been breached, right? They had to be informed by a third party that they've been breached. So, what's wrong with legacy SIEMs? Sorry, why can they keep up? So for starters, everything is still highly manual. There is a lot of toil in security operations, right? Security analysts, the amount of repetitive task and burn and churn out that we see with them, again, just continues to amaze me so many years in. The second thing is that there's never enough data, right? We know our systems generate more and more data. We know that we need all this data to be able to understand and run analytics to detect threats. But a lot of the legacy SIEMs just can't scale to even ingest all this data, let alone analyze it effectively, search it fast enough for us to be able to detect threats in time. And lastly, no attack insight, right? I think in order to do modern security operations, you need to have amazing insights into the threat landscape. and more importantly, how those insights apply to your organization. Because without that, really what you're doing is searching for that proverbial needle in the haystack. And if that's what you're doing, all the power to you. So at Google Cloud and with Mandiant, we really believe it's time to modernize SecOps. And our blueprint for what SecOps needs to do in order to modernize looks like this. So for starters, we believe that SecOps has to stop focusing 100% of the effort on reactive processes, just reacting to alerts that may be indicative of threats that bypassed our defenses. And we feel that SecOps, obviously there's still room for reactive thinking, but those have to be combined with a proactive approach. How do I understand who is targeting me? Where am I exposed? And how can I get ahead of potential issues before they become alerts and threats? And of course, have a clear understanding of the risk in my organization. The second thing, we just can't depend on people the way we do. Don't get me wrong, nobody's going to be automated out of a job. We all know there's about 4 million, I think, cybersecurity open positions right now. But we have to focus our limited and hard to find security talent on critical tasks and let things like automation and AI try to remove as much of the toil from security operations as possible. The third thing is that we have to evolve from limited threat intelligence or just this massive database of threat intelligence of everything bad that's going on in the world and move to how we can apply that threat intelligence to our unique environment to understand what we need to focus on. We have to move from alerts and plumbing, right? There's just an unbelievable amount of hard work that has to go into making legacy SIEMs deliver the outcomes that we need, right? A lot of engineering that has to go into it. And we believe modern security operations platforms have to deliver curated outcomes out of the box. And last but not least, again, move from this environment where, oh, I just can't afford to look at all the data or my solution doesn't scale, and move to a modern approach where your SIEM platform or your SecOps platform is operationally scalable. So with that all that in mind, we are extremely pleased to introduce the next evolution of our Chronicle Security Operations Platform, the Unified Chronicle Security Operations Platform, which is a modern security operations platform that helps you defend against modern threats, not just today's threats, but also tomorrow's threats. And it does, it is modern because of these three things that you see here. For once, just the architecture. It leverages Google Clouds and Google's infrastructure to deliver scale and speed that lets you ingest all your security telemetry, store it for longer, search it incredibly fast. You can see up to 20x faster than other solutions. The second thing is that, about a year into, right, after Google Cloud acquired Mandiant, we are now bringing the best threat intelligence on the planet, not just Google's threat intelligence from looking at 4 billion devices running Chrome or almost 3 billion inboxes running Gmail, but also Mandiant's frontline threat intelligence and VirusTotal's crowdsourced threat intelligence, and applying it in your network, helping you deliver outcomes out of the box. We offer 20x more real-time detections out of the box in Chronicle. And last but not least, no presentation in tech would be complete without talking about AI today. But if you followed Google and Google Cloud, you know that Google is all in on infusing AI everywhere, and security operations is no different. We'll show you some of the cool AI capabilities that we have that, again, are transformational, 10x or better gains in how you investigate. So let's get started with what's actually new with this release that we announced yesterday. So for starters, we've unified the platform. If you're familiar with security operations, there's a lot of acronyms: SIEM, SOAR, threat intelligence. It's often a very fragmented experience. What we've done is unify all of this in one platform. You can now seamlessly pivot between cases, alerts, entities, rules, and more. And really what that does is streamline the investigation from detection, streamline the process from detection to investigation to response, and you can get everything done in kind of one unified case queue for your security operations teams to work on. Let's see what that looks like. So if you see the product now, you can see really we've thought along the lines of workflow: investigation, detection, response. Tell me what you need to do, and it takes you to the right area of the platform. And it's very easy to pivot. So if I'm investigating a case and I want to see what's this EDR detection, what's this alert, I can pivot to the right area in the platform, in this case, to what is historically the SIM platform, and take a look at the detection. At the alert. And from the alert, I can pivot back to the cases. And if I'm on the case and I want to say, hey, what's this rule? I want to see this rule that fired the detection. I can, again, drill down there. And it's, again, very easy to pivot from everywhere in the platform to where you need it. The second really exciting capability that we announced yesterday was what we call applied threat intelligence. This is where we take, as I said, the wealth of threat intelligence between Google, Mandiant, and VirusTotal, unifying it and applying it to your environment. Now, because of the Chronicle scale, we can also apply it to every event. You don't have to make compromises or filter out events. Every event or every piece of data that Chronicle ingests is matched against threat intelligence, and you have this context. The second thing that we do is prioritize all these events to help you focus on what truly matters. And the prioritization is based on what's unique to your environment. So it's not just the severity of the threat in general, what that means for your environment, giving what industry you're in, what your compensating controls are, and really let you focus in on what matters to you. And we'll see that in just a second. And lastly, one of the amazing insights that we get from Mandiant in their 1,000+ IR investigations in the field is visibility into the latest, most novel techniques that attackers use. What we're able to do, and we call this breach analytics, is as soon as Mandiant IR consultants discover a new IOC or TTP or attack in the wild, within 30 minutes that or less, that actually gets surfaced in Chronicle. And if Chronicle sees those same indicators in your environment, you will get an early warning signal of something that's going on in your environment that matches something that Mandiant just saw in the wild as part of their investigations. Let's take a look at what that looks like. So here's all the indicators in my data. Prioritize. You can see the top one says active IR, which means we just recently saw that. It didn't even hit threat intelligence platforms yet. And of course, if I click on it, I can drill down and see exactly all the relevant information on that attack. But it's not just the data. Because we integrate with Mandiant Threat Intelligence, I can go to associations and get more information. Who is the threat actor, right? Where are they coming from? What campaigns are they running? So I can see all this information. And lastly, if I want to understand how is this prioritized, I can look at this IC indicator confidence score of 100 and get information why this was prioritized that way in my environment. And speaking of additional insights that we get from Mandiant, this Chronicle release also integrates with attack surface management technology from Mandiant, which means that we're not just bringing in threat intelligence, we're also bringing in exposure data, right? You can now, if you're an ASM customer, bring all the exposure data to Chronicle. You can use that exposure data to write better detections, to prioritize investigations, and get additional insights. So again, this is my case queue, and we talked about proactive. So you can see the second case is not an alert. It's actually a case that was created because of an exposure that was uncovered by attack surface management. If it's a critical exposure, we in the SOC want to know about it. And you can actually, again, get all this information. You can build playbooks in SOAR to automate remediation. And the whole idea here is you are proactively addressing critical exposures in your network, hopefully before they get exploited, and then you're going to be looking at alerts and potential threats. Okay, now let's talk about AI. Duet AI for Chronicle. So in Google in general, and as I said, security operations is no exception, we really feel that AI is transformational technology. And in security and in security operations, it can help with some of the challenges that have plagued the industry for years. One is understanding threats better, being able to quickly understand when new threats occur and hopefully prevent them from spreading past that first point of infection. The second thing is eliminating the toil and all the repetitive activities that security analysts and security engineers have to go through. And last but not least is also help with a talent shortage, right? AI can elevate the skills of everybody on your team. And that means you require less of these hard to find experts to get expert work done. If you've not followed Google Cloud, one important thing to know is that the AI that we're going to see in Chronicle is built on top of Vertex AI, which is Google Cloud's AI platform. And two important things to note. One is that it's not, Bard or one of these generic AI tools. This uses a specialized LLM called SecPom2, which is trained on security data. Not just all the threat intelligence that we see, but OSS vulnerabilities, MITRE frameworks, etc. And it's also extensible. So you as customers will be able to customize it with your own data while ensuring that whatever data that you use to train the model doesn't get shared with anyone else. And because it's built on Google's AI model, you get things like compliance and sovereignty and identity management and all the enterprise-ready features that you would expect from this technology. All right, let's see what this looks like. So, first thing we're going to show you, very cool natural language search, right? So I'm going to go and search for crypto mining attacks that happened on Google Cloud in the last week. And I'm going to search it in natural language, right? And what's going to happen? Generative AI is going to generate the underlying query. So I don't need to understand the URL or any kind of query language. I can just run a search, right? Show me all users who failed to log into their machine in Australia in the last month, right? And when I click on search, I get results. And here are the specific alerts that match my query. Of course, again, since it's one unified platform, I can drill down. And what we're going to do now is look at this alert in my case queue. One of the cool features of Chronicle is that we look at case management that can group related alerts together. So if it's kind of the similar activity, we're going to say, oh, well, all these three alerts are one case and the analyst can handle them. So I'm going to go to the case. And again, if you've worked in a SOC or in security operations, you know that once you start investigating, there's a lot of data, right? And in this case, there's playbooks that have run and enriched the alert with a lot of data. And it sometimes takes some time to get your bearings and figure out what's going on. And Duet AI comes to the rescue here as well. You can see if I click on the case overview in just a second, what Duet AI will do is something that AI does very well. It's going to summarize all this information for me. Here's what happened. Here's what you may want to do. And that really kind of shaves off a lot of time in getting my bearings, understanding what's going on, and again, and what I need to do. So AI-generated summaries. So this is how we start to remove toil. If before AI, every analyst needed to understand complex query language in order to search for results, you can get instant results with natural language search. And if before we had to, once we started investigating, try to kind of look and try to synthesize large amounts of data, I can get an AI-generated summary with what happened and next steps. The last thing that I want to show you is something that is not in the product yet. It's around the corner, but it is too cool for us to keep to ourselves. And that is a full interactive chat with AI, right? So again, some of you have probably used AI chat tools like Bard. So I have a full interactive chat here. And for example, here I'm putting a query, find documents with confidential in their title that were shared externally last week. I type it in. Of course, the query is created, the results are in, but then I can say, well, summarize these results. You gave me 112 results. Can you summarize them for me? And AI will summarize all the information. And again, you can see there's kind of suggestions, and I continue to chat with the AI, and I look at the alerts, and I want to say, well, take me to the case. And it does take me to the case, and AI will say, do you want to create a playbook that will automate the steps that you just did? And if I choose so, AI will create a playbook for me. And again, I can look at what was created. I can start maybe tweaking it and configuring parameters. But again, instead of hours that it takes to create playbooks, tweaking a playbook that's created with AI may take me minutes. And AI will also be able to create detection rules for me with generative AI. And again, remove a lot of the toil, and we believe will be transformational in the productivity of the SOC and SecOps teams. So again, just to recap what we saw here, instead of running multiple searches, you have a context-aware chat. You can say, hey, show me all these results. Oh, well, remove the results that are not system administrators. Just very conversational, and you get the information that you need. And generative AI, just around the corner, will help with rule creation, with playbook creation. And again, I think the future looks very, very bright. So hopefully you are all as excited about these upcoming capabilities as we are. But before I leave, I want to leave you with one final video by another group of excited people who happen to be Chronicle customers. And with that, let's roll the tape.
We went to Google because we needed a robust platform that would allow us to ingest any kind of data at volume. Ingesting data is one thing, but making sense of it is another.
Once that we transition to Chronicle, we start receiving alerts that we never seen before.
We have advanced capabilities around threat intelligence that are highly integrated into the Chronicle platform. We like the orchestration capabilities to enrich the data, provide additional context to it.
Using Chronicle SIEM allows us to not have to compromise on the amount of data and the different log sources we bring into the SIEM. And this is something we were never able to do before, so it is amazing.
Anybody in the same role that I am is going to see the benefit right away.
The workbooks and the playbooks we can create add tremendous value in automation.
For me, the future, it is automation, and I think that Google is the right partner to accomplish this vision.
Just for avoidance of any doubt, we didn't go on Shark Tank with Chronicle. The reason you saw Robert Herjavec there is because his day job actually is the CEO of Sideris, which is a managed detection and response customer, very tight Google partner, and obviously a happy Chronicle customer. So with that, before we part, if you have any questions, feel free to come up to me. We also have a demo pod. Look for the security operations sign, and we're happy to show you more and answer any more questions. And with that, thank you for your time and enjoy the rest of the show.